Today's a great day. It's gloomy out. I have a new coffee to taste, and I'm so excited because it's Friday. And it being Friday, that means that I'm streaming tonight over at twitch.tv/jdxcoffee. I've really grown to love my streaming days because I adore streaming. Not to mention do I adore streaming, but my journey through Black Myth Wukong has been spectacular. Today's not going to be a Black Myth Wukong day. Today we'll be gaming with other people, other friends, and that is really going to be the topic at hand today, is talking about how gaming, the gaming community, gaming the way that you want to, has become more and more of a focus for a lot of us busy dads. I know for me, the Steam Deck brought me back to gaming pretty heavily. Nintendo with the Nintendo Switch, of course, the flexibility there was great, but gaming on the Steam Deck was just a spectacular experience. And it's continued to be a spectacular experience. I've mentioned before that the green check mark, Steam Deck Verified, is probably the most important gaming qualifier for a lot of us dads, busy fathers, husbands who want to make sure that our gaming experience is going to be actually somewhat pleasurable. I mean, I know that I'm not looking for my games to run like high frames, perfect quality. Like, I understand that a game like Black Myth is not going to run super well on something like a Steam Deck, though one of my best buds has gotten it to run very stable at a 30 frames per second handheld mode, which I know is a lot less offensive than playing a game at 30 frames per second on a TV. Shots fired, PlayStation 5 Pro. But that being said, the green check mark saying deck verified, if anything, is more of something that instills a bit of confidence. Well, this is also going to be a little bit of a talk about PlayStation, because the reviews are in and they seem bleak. Shout out to the commenter that says start your grinder first, because now I can grind my coffee and it's going to have less fines and 2 less coffee beans. As you notice, there is a Bash Bros cup here. I'm hoping that's a foreshadowing. I've been jonesing to start that podcast up again. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I really want to start the Bash Bros podcast back up again somehow, so stay tuned for that. You're going to definitely want to be following me over on twitch.tv/jdxcoffee, because if we do any recordings, it's going to be live recordings, and they're going to be over there. Now, talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro, my huge transition from gaming on PlayStation and Nintendo to now switching over to the PC was originally just having to reconcile splitting my libraries. I, for one, am someone who has had a lot of fun using gaming consoles. I still have a PlayStation 5, though it's plugged into my TV in the living room, and I don't really find myself jonesing for the games over there. Still, it's a great experience to have that plug-and-play type of feel. But for me, one of the biggest things that I've been experiencing over this past week now is playing games that I feel like serve me as the gamer, one, but also not feeling that, not guilt is a bad way of putting it, but like splitting the libraries up and being like, where do I need to buy games? I started my PC journey with 70 plus games because of the Steam Deck. And now that I have it, I'm playing other games. Now, I do have 90 days free. It was included of Game Pass Ultimate. So I'm trying games like Diablo and Call of Duty and stuff like that on PC. And I'm experiencing just the most incredible gaming out there. Now, $800 for a PlayStation 5 Pro and $2,400 for this after tax and everything's all said and done. Yeah, I should be experiencing a better experience overall, or visual experience overall. It would be ridiculous if I couldn't. And the like-for-like comparison is probably unfair and also unrealistic. The average Joe who is going from a PlayStation 5 to PC gaming probably isn't going to go out and spend $2,400 on a PC. And so that's certainly not my suggestion. And I'm not holding the fact that I'm playing Black Myth Wukong at 80 frames with ray tracing on a 4K TV like, I don't know, 6 feet away from my face. Like, that's super unfair. But I think what's not unfair is how the comparison goes when it comes to value. So PlayStation, yes, is cheaper. But when it comes to this implementation of the PlayStation 5 Pro, maybe value is the improper way of going about it. You'll have to excuse me. I'm only on 1 cup of coffee today. I've been up for a long time. I stay up late doing the streams, right? Twitch.tv/JDXCoffee. Definitely come check it out, 6:30 p.m. But I also have been just like jonesing to play more Black Myth, so I've been waking up early to play it while my kids are sleeping. It's just been burning the candle at both ends, but I'm enjoying it, dude. I'm having so much fun. And this isn't void of issues. I've had screen tearing, I've had flickering. It hasn't been seamless. And it's probably because I'm using a TV for a monitor. And I know that using the LG C2 isn't absurd. People do indeed use that specific TV as a monitor. But for me, I have been running into some compatibility things here and there, which haven't been the most pleasurable. Now, getting back into the PlayStation 5 Pro situation, the whole issue that I have with the PlayStation 5 Pro is that the PlayStation 5, let's just call it the Pro. The Pro itself is being advertised as this upgrade and this like, hey, you should be thanking us for giving you this very service that we're giving you. We're going with smoke today. And while in most instances we'd be excited for new consoles, the problem is it's just the additional and crapification of products, right? So they gave us a PlayStation 5. They said 8K on the box. They said it could do 4K 120. They said it could do this. They said it could do that. It struggled to hit 4K 60. It struggled to maintain high resolutions. We still got 30 frames per second. Ray tracing in games wasn't implemented till later, much later, months later in some instances. Optimization to play games at a somewhat stable higher frame rate. And I'm talking 50 to 60, not 60 to 120. I'm talking just 50 to 60 frames was patched in much later. The experience as a whole was not delivered. And years later, we are getting that experience that was advertised originally at a $300 additional purchase, right? Or let's just say to something, right? And I say that because digital to digital. If we're going physical to physical, it's going to be, $320 or something like that. My numbers aren't perfect. That for me was kind of the final straw in the whole thing. Is like, I just don't want to have to deal with that kind of thing again. But then the big green light was being able to play games on the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck took over my gaming completely. It took me away from Nintendo Switch because I had played all the games on Nintendo Switch I wanted to play. It took me away from PlayStation a lot of times because I'm like, I just want to play in a handheld form factor. And so I'm like, if I'm buying games on Steam, I might as well like fully dive in at some point to PC and Steam. And this marginal upgrade that existed with that $300 price point just reminded me of every single gosh-forsaken streaming service that exists where they start with $9.99 for everything, and now HBO is $21 to get no ads and 4K streaming, when just maybe a year ago it was less and include 4K streaming. YouTube Premium, watching my videos in 4K sometimes, will cost you a premium subscription to get proper bitrate. I'm just a dude talking about video games, drinking a cup of coffee. That's ridiculous. This kind of thing we see, Call of Duty, all these games. They promise something and they don't deliver. And then when they do deliver, it's in the form of DLC or add-ons. And I think that I got to a certain point where I'm like, I'm done. I'm sick of this. I feel insulted as the gamer. I feel absolutely insulted as the consumer. And I want control over everything the best I can. Now, some would argue you don't have any sort of physical control over your games on PC because PC is all digital. To you, I say, yeah, I know. I don't like Ethiopian natural coffees. this is a good Ethiopian natural coffee. What the heck is this? This is Debensa, Debensa by Steady State. You can use my trade link below. In full disclosure, if you use my trade link below, you get a free bag and I get a free bag. And so I don't have to buy coffee for myself. I'm not sponsored by them. You get a free bag, I get a free bag. It's great. So thank you to everyone who's subscribing because you actually are being seen here. This bag was paid for by a subscriber. How cool is that? Back to it. This Ethiopian's good. That's actually tasty. I've been really turned off to Ethiopian coffees because they all taste the same, but this one actually tastes really clean. I'm going to have to share that with my wife. I watched all of the big YouTube channels' reviews on the PlayStation 5 Pro, and some people are expecting me to come out with one myself because they're like, oh, he's going to go buy it anyway. I genuinely and 100% have no interest in purchasing it at this point, and I will not be buying a PlayStation 5 Pro. I have nothing against Sony. Honestly, it just comes down to the fact that like I am being served so much better as a gamer, being able to have control over how I see my games. Yes, I have very, very good components in my machine. The pre-build that I chose was based on the fact that all the parts in there, when they play together properly, are higher quality parts. I checked every single component and they actually didn't cheap out, but also they're going to allow me to play games for a long time, far better than any console will be able to play them. Quality isn't everything. It certainly is not. For goodness sakes, I'm playing on a Steam Deck. But if I'm going to sit down and believe the promise, which is better performance, better frame rates, better this, better that, the game's going to look this good, I sure as hell want to have that experience, right? Why would I own something that is not going to deliver on that experience? Yeah, console is more stable in a lot of ways. When the game comes out, it's going to run better and more optimized on something like a console. So I've been told. I get it. But the landscape of gaming as it stands is pretty dim. AAA games aren't coming out the way they used to. They're coming out on decade timelines versus 3-4 year timelines. And when they come out, they're usually pretty crummy. And also the games that are coming out just fall flat. The stories are pretty silly, and they just aren't really as good as advertised. And so now feels like maybe one of the best times to jump into PC gaming because what is on the horizon doesn't seem to be as good, and the promise that existed on games that have come out have yet to be fully realized. So then why would I say, okay, I'm going to trust Sony to finally deliver this experience? I mean, I just watched Wolf Den's coverage of it, and apparently the transfer rate of the image through the HDMI port is bottlenecked. That's kind of crazy to think about, that they didn't upgrade the HDMI port. I don't know what any of that means, but it seems kind of crazy that they would upgrade the video card, so the processing, you are indeed able to do it, but you are bottlenecked by the output of the image. That's crazy to me. In that kind of thing, you don't have any control over. You wouldn't be able to change any of those parts out because, I mean, everyone can do anything really. So I'm not going to say. There's always going to be like, oh, actually, technically, I can do it. You just have to unsolder this. Like, no, we're not going to go down that road. What I am going to say is the device itself is made in such a manner where that kind of technically is not really supposed to take place. And I am very thankful that I decided to jump ship when I did, because it seems that the transition over to a unified library versus a fractured library for myself as a gamer, as well as a bunch of dads in my circle, seems to really work out for us. The PlayStation is a great solution for people who are just like plug and play, we're ready to go. Good on you. Awesome. But I would argue that I would suggest, not argue, arguing's lame. I would suggest that if you're someone who's a very huge fan of the Steam Deck, man, what an experience the PC Steam Deck combo has been for me, and the peace of mind that exists understanding that that combo actually wants to work together. They want to. The companies that are providing the games to the service, Steam service, want their games to be on Steam. Not only do they want their games to be on Steam, but as time has gone on, they want their games to be recognize as something that is playable, if not verified, for something like the Steam Deck, because the Steam Deck is bringing people to gaming. It's like the gateway to gaming. If you've been on the fence about portable PCs, I don't blame you. Portable PCs are brutal. The Asus ROG Ally X is so cool, and there are other ways to make it a simpler experience. Yeah, but the Steam Deck is undeniably one of the easiest ways to get into the portable PC market. Easiest, right? And again, to get ahead of the comments, it's not that hard, bro. You're making it crazy. Yeah, maybe. But I can tell you that running the Asus ROG Ally X for 2 weeks was way more challenging than me running my actual PC for the past week. Like, this thing actually, the Windows is far more manageable with a mouse and keyboard on a regular basis in a fixed location where I know that the situation I'm getting into grants me a little bit more access to customization, as well as time allotted to fixing any issues that come up with Windows, which so far I've had very little, none at all. I'm sure it's going to come down the pipe at some time because it's Windows, and apparently Windows is convoluted and complicated. At least that's what I accuse it of being, and I certainly haven't experienced that yet, so I've been wrong. But I just feel like I finally my eyes were opened to the fact that I had been relying on an experience that hasn't been here since probably 2012. The console gaming experience from like the PlayStation 4 Pro, maybe just a 4, but the console gaming experience since the PlayStation 5 has been everything but what they said it would be. And that's coming from someone who genuinely enjoyed playing PlayStation 5. I just didn't realize how crazy Steam is. If you can't notice, Steam Deck, playing games through Steam on a PC has completely transformed how I look at accessing my games. I now feel like the games I want to play match the year I'm in. I now feel like the games I'm playing are playable, if not much more than playable, immersive, exciting. And the games I've chosen to play, Black Myth Wukong, some others that are more indie titles, I just have been adoring splitting between the PC and the Steam Deck. It's been an incredible week with a PC, and I think that moving into whatever's next for PC gaming and myself, I think the first hardware upgrade I want to do is I'm actually going to ditch the TV because I don't love it. And thanks to Black Myth Wukong's widescreen 21.9 or 21.9 mode, I think I'm going to go with a widescreen monitor because that 21.9 experience is anything short of breathtaking. It is everything short of breathtaking. It's breathtaking, but more so. I'm going to go and hang out with my family. Hopefully you guys have something fun to do today, but tonight I'm hoping to see all of you. Huge thank you to all of you who followed over on Twitch. We're at 1,000 followers. That's super fun. Next huge benchmark is just to have people having more fun in there. That's the goal. I'll see you over there tonight, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. Okay, if you're watching this another day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, maybe even Thursdays now too, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. See ya. Play more and be kind.